Welcome to yoga. Today we're going to do some of the foundational or classic yoga poses. So yoga is an ancient practice. The first written account or description of yoga is credited to Patanjali, Yoga Sutras. It was 185 short aphorisms about yoga, and in that of the 8-limb path of hatha yoga, asana is one of the limbs. And as yoga has evolved over those many years, especially in Western cultures such as ours, the emphasis has become more on the asana practice, the practice of poses, the practice of working with the body. And way back in the beginning, it was more about just preparing the body for long times of sitting in meditation, working toward enlightenment. So that's a change in yoga, but all the 8 limbs are still part of a traditional yoga practice. It's just that in the Western cultures, we place more emphasis on the physical parts. So I thought it would be fun to just revisit some of those classic poses, foundational poses. So that's what we're going to be about today. So find your place where you'd like to center. It can be on your back, supine, or seated. And before you start moving inward, or you can start, but in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, the definition, one of the ways he describes yoga is stilling of the fluctuations of the mind. So asana is a tool not only for strengthening and your body wellness, but a way to focus and learn to keep your thoughts at bay and just go inward. So that's what we do in the beginning when we're centering. So close your eyes and just be aware of where you are and your external environment, and then bring your awareness in your way inside to your internal environment, and just see yourself right here, right now. So listen to what's going on in your body. Notice if you feel areas that might be tense. Try to release any tension that you feel. Notice emotions and just honor where you are today. So don't push it down. Just understand that you feel this way or that way. And also release thoughts. So notice thoughts, but just let them go. They'll still be there when practice is over. You can come back then, but you might have a different attitude after yoga. We'll see. So just take a few more seconds, half a minute or so, to see yourself right here, right now, in this moment, in this setting, getting ready for some yoga. Now bring your awareness to your breath. No, don't try to change it, but the breath can be an important tool for stilling your mind, and pranayama or breath work is actually the second of the 8 limbs. Asana is the third. So we're going to do one of the very basic foundational pranayama practices, 3-part breath. So just start by making sure you're Face, jaw, neck are relaxed, shoulders relaxed, whether you're seated or supine. And you might put one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. Don't have to, but you might. Make sure your belly's nice and relaxed. And as you begin your long, slow inhale, let the breath go into, it's not going into your belly, it's going deep in your lungs, but feel your belly rise as the diaphragm descends deeply. And then, that's the first part. The second part, fill the middle part of your chest. The third part, bring the breath all the way up to your collarbones. Just imagine that in your mind, and what you're really doing is filling the lungs fully, bottom up. And then as you exhale, release, feel the chest sink in, the mid-body, the belly comes in at the end of the exhale. So just think of it in 3 parts. You might have a slight pause between parts, but you can also do it smoothly. But just make sure that your belly rises first on the inhale, and then the body expands and broadens all the way up to your collarbones. And then on the exhale, exhale in the opposite direction. Body softening, coming towards center, ending with a little pull in of your belly to get a nice complete exhale. So as you're doing the 3 parts, also try to make your inhale and exhale equal in length, but don't over effort. So find a pace and a depth that is comfortable for you. So just practice this 3-part breath, filling your lungs from the bottom up, exhaling from the top down for about another 45 seconds. I'll let you know. So the breath is also what connects your mind and your body. So you're consciously breathing a certain way, and the effects are felt in your body. Often we breathe only in our chest, shallowly. So this is very healthy, bringing freshly oxygenated air deep down into your lungs where a lot of nerve endings are. Exhaling all that we don't need. And the next time you come to the end of your long, slow exhale, just let go of the pranayama, the 3-part breath, but do continue to have a slow, deep, even breath during practice. And based on what you've seen, create an intention for your practice today. And the intention is there to revisit during practice. It's another anchor or focal point. And we're going to begin our practice today standing. So best way for you, it would be good to have a block nearby. A block. So come on up to standing, and we'll begin with the most, I think, foundational pose of all, mountain pose. So all the standing poses begin from mountain pose. So approach it today with a beginner's mind, as if this was the first time you've done it. And for some people watching, it may be. I don't know, this is online, I don't know who's participating. But let's everybody have that mindset of the first time you've been doing it. So look at your feet, and your feet should be parallel. Maybe the toes, big toes a little bit closer together. Our feet are all different, so the second toe should be pointing straight forward, and your feet can be a little wider apart or a little closer together. So just find what's comfortable for you, and start by lifting and spreading your toes. So lift your toes off the mat, spread them apart, your feet are broadening, and then let them come down gently. Press into the four corners of your feet. So that's the big mound of the mound of the big toe, the little toe, and the back around the sides of the heel. Just press down into all those corners. Make sure you're balanced. You can rock forward, rock back, rock out and in on your feet to help you find those four corners and feel them all pressing into the mat. So when you press into the mat, you'll notice your kneecaps come up and your quadricep muscles engage. Now take a little tuck, so lift your pelvic bones up a little and your tailbone under, just a little. And moving up, you always move up from your foundation when you're getting ready for a pose. Now try to increase the space between your rib cage and your pelvic bones. So long sideways, lift, don't just lift your shoulders up. Lift the whole rib cage up away from the pelvis, and then lift your shoulders up toward your ears and roll them back and down to get your chest open. We often have forward slumping shoulders, so that's how we get them back. And then externally rotate your arms so the thumbs go out, palms face forward. And then lengthen up through the crown of your head, like there's a string pulling you right up. Oh, I forgot to say, spread your fingers, just like we spread the toes. Spread your fingers and reach gently down toward the earth. So you're rooting down through your feet, down through your arms, and up through the crown of your head. Now, let go of a little bit of effort. So soften as much as you can without losing your alignment. Ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over heels. Chest lifted like you're shining a light right out through your heart space. Close your eyes if you have the balance. So with minimal effort and the steadiness of a mountain, so steady through your base, rooting down, and ease, stability and ease. That's another way that Patanjali defined asana, is you should feel stable and easy in a pose. Come back to your breath, and we'll just take a few more slow, deep, even breaths in mountain pose. Make sure your face, jaw, neck relaxed, shoulders coming down. One more breath. Okay, then open your eyes if they're closed, and we're going to do some shoulder and side openers. So still with your feet in the position they were in. Spread your fingers. Inhale, arms up overhead. Take hold of the left wrist with your right hand, and on an exhale, side bend to the right, pressing down a little more into the left foot, stretching all the way from the left foot out through the left fingertips. Inhale, back up. Exhale, change the grip. Side bend on an exhale to the left. So just awakening the left side of the body. Inhale brings you up. Exhale, side bend to the other side. few more times, and time to your own breath. Move with your breath. So slow. Lengthen on the inhale. Soften on the exhale. One more time to each side. Keep the arm near the ear. And the next time when you balanced out, exhale, bring your arms down and do a little shoulder opener. This is a vinyasa, so a vinyasa is moving with the breath. I forgot how to do this one. Oh no, I did. Okay, inhale, arms go up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, thumb, index finger together to make a triangle. Exhale, push out. Inhale, up. Exhale, palms down to the heart center. Inhale, push away. Exhale, pull back. Inhale, up. Exhale, heart center. Inhale, push away. Exhale, palms face back. Pull back like breaststroke. Flip your palms. One more time. Inhale, up. Exhale, heart center. Inhale, push away. Exhale, pull back. And this time, just let your hands go down by your side. Now, you might want to have a block here. We're going to do Surya Namaskar. It's kind of my own version, but it's the basic version. That is great for warming up, especially the lower body. So, I'll guide you through it. So, you're going to start in mountain. Inhale, arms up, fingers spread. Exhale, swan dive forward. Tilt your tailbone up as you come forward. Bend your knees as much as you want to. And then put your hands on your shin. Inhale, half lift, lengthen out. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, right foot back, come into a lunge. You can use a block here. Left foot forward lunge. Exhale in the lunge. Inhale, bring your left foot back into downward facing dog. Lift your tailbone. Let's take a couple breaths here. Inhale, chest toward thighs. Press equally into your hands. Stretch down through your heels. Next, inhale any way you can. Bring your right foot up. I gotta help mine a little bit. I need a block for this side. Exhale in your right foot forward lunge. And then inhale, rock back. Bring your left foot up to meet your right. Forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Lengthen out. Exhale, fold. Inhale, left foot back. Lunge. Exhale in the lunge, then inhale, right foot back, downward facing dog. Lift your tailbone, head is loose, hanging down. Inhale, left foot forward. Exhale in the lunge. Inhale, rock back a little, bring your right foot forward, forward bend. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up all the way up overhead, palms together. Exhale, hands to your heart space. Now we'll do that one more time. This time we're going to start with the left leg first. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, left foot back, lunge. Inhale, right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward. lunge. Exhale in the lunge. Inhale, rock back, right foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, right foot back, lunge. Sink into the lunge on the exhale. Inhale, left foot back, downward facing dog. Couple breaths in down dog. And now right foot forward, lunge. Exhale and lunge. Inhale, rock back, left foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press into your feet. Come up with a strong back. And end with your hands in Anjali Mudra. And just come into mountain pose. You can let your arms come down. Or you can keep them in Anjali Mudra. And just take a few breaths in mountain pose. Notice the energy. That was a long vinyasa. Warming up the body. Especially the lower body, but upper body too. That's the wonderful thing about yoga. A balanced practice hits all the joints through their range of motion and all the muscles. Okay, then come to the front edge of your mat. And stand with your feet hip width apart. Maybe I'll do it sideways. Hip width apart, toes pointing forward, so the mountain pose. And on an rotate your right toes out toward the front corner of your mat, so about 30-45 degrees. Take a big step back, keeping the space between your feet so your feet are not on one line. Inhale, bend your left knee right over the left ankle. Doesn't have to be parallel to the floor, whatever stance you need, distance between your feet to get the left knee over the left ankle. You should be able to see your left toes. Square your hips toward the front edge of the mat. Hips and shoulders, so you can put your hands on your hips and kind of bring your right hip a little forward. Adjust your stance so that you can do that. Bring your hands to your heart space, Anjali Mudra, palms together. Just take a breath or two here, Warrior One. Then on an inhale, if you choose, you can bring your arms up parallel to your ears or out to the side or clasp your hands behind you. So any arms you want. I think the more traditional is arms up, but you can bring in a more modern variation if you want to. Warrior One, very foundational pose. Again, stable but easy. So your breathing is still slow, deep, even. Each exhale, you might be able to sink a little more into the pose, but no forcing. And the next inhale, straighten your leg, bring your hands to your side, step your right foot forward. We'll do Warrior One on the other side. So this time pivot on your left heel, toes out 30 or 45 degrees. Take a big step back with your left foot. Now remember, your sides are different, so make sure you're treating them that way. Find the right space between your feet. Make sure your feet are not on the same line. Bend your right knee right over your right ankle. Draw your left hip forward, square to the front edge of the mat, shoulders also. Bring your hands to your heart space. And then any arms of your choice for Warrior One. Stable. Feel your feet pressing into the mat. Thighs perhaps energetically drawing in and together. You can bring your gaze up toward your hands if they're up, or straight ahead. So any modifications, this is perhaps a part of the evolution and modernization of yoga, is adapting it to your own body. Using props, getting the most out of the pose for you. And then bring your arms down by your sides, step the left foot forward, turn to face the long edge of your mat, step your feet wide apart, lift and spread your toes, make sure your feet are parallel, and hands on your hips. This is another foundational pose, Prasarita Padottanasana. I'm going to use the Sanskrit names because those are classic, but it's also wide leg forward bend. You want to hinge forward here, tilting your pelvis forward. So right at the hip crease, lengthen out through the crown of your head. Keep your back long and straight. Come about halfway down. Here's another place where a block can be an aid to bring the floor up a little bit. But however you do it, make sure you keep your back straight. Come about halfway down. Rest your hands on the block or the floor. So you're pressing down through both feet. Thighs rotate inward. And just if you want to keep coming down more, go right ahead, or you can stay on the block. You can come all the way down and hang here. Just make sure your spine is long and you keep a little tilt in your tailbone. And just take a few breaths here. Slow, deep, even breaths. And then on your fingertips of the block, come back up halfway. If you fold it a little more forward, lengthen out. Then bring your hands to your thighs or your waist. Inhale, press through your feet, pull your belly in, bring your upper body all the way up. And now turn your left heel out toward the back corner of your mat. Pivot on your right foot, toes toward the front edge of the mat. Bend your right knee over your right ankle. So now this is a closed hip posture. So, this is an open hip posture. So your back leg is internally rotating, your front leg is externally rotating. You're going to square not your hips, but your shoulders to the long edge of the mat. Make sure your ankle is right over your right foot, hands on your hips. On an inhale, bring your arms shoulder height out to the side, spread your fingers, and then take your gaze over the middle finger of your right hand. Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So here, you're pressing down into your feet, that's your foundation. Spine comes right up through the middle of your pelvis, so you're not leaning toward your front hand or back toward your back hand, straight up. Stable but easy. Go to your breath. Make sure your face is relaxed. Use only the energy you need to hold the pose. Slow, deep, even breath. One more. And then turn your feet back to parallel. And we'll try the other side. Remember, always remember, sides are different. Right heel pivots back, left toes toward the other end of your mat. Take a bend in your left knee. You can come in and out a few times to find that right bend. You might need to adjust your stance. Here, the heels are either on one line or the front heel toward the back arch of your foot. So find the right positioning. It's always important to have your good foundation or your pose won't be as good as it can be. Square your shoulders to the front edge of the mat, long edge of the mat, excuse me. Inhale, arms up shoulder height. Spine comes right up through the middle of your pelvis, and then turn your gaze over the middle finger of your left hand. Relax your face, jaw, neck, shoulders down from the ears. Breathe. Feel your strong foundation. Feel the ease of your breath. One more breath. And then bring your hands back to your hips. Swivel your feet together. And let's take a few rounds of half sun. And you can, I think we'll put chair into it, but I'll demonstrate one way to do it, but you can modify it if you want. So this is just to bring some movement after holding several poses and before we go into our balance pose. So inhale, arms go up. Exhale, swan dive forward, tilt your pelvis up forward. And then bend your knees, set your hips back. Inhale, arms up by your ears, chair pose. Exhale all the way up. If you don't want to do chair pose, you can do a half lift. So substitute anything that feels better for you or feels good to you. And in time to your own breath, do a couple more half suns. Moving with your breath. And we'll meet in mountain pose. Might want to roll your shoulders out. Take any movement that feels good. And then have a block. We're going to do half moon pose, which is a classic balancing pose. And it can help to have a wall nearby to do it. So if you've got that availability, go ahead. I don't particularly have that, so I might be doing a lot of wobbling. That's okay. You could also use a block. So if you're against a wall, so pretend I have a wall back here, you're just going to put your right foot a few inches from the wall. And you're going to put your, whether you are against a wall or not, a block in front of your right foot a few inches and a little bit over to the right. Now step back with your left foot, kind of like for space between your feet, like for warrior one. Bend the right knee. You can watch me if you want to see it before you do it. Bend the right knee and then come up onto your left toes. Come forward with your hand on the block and then lift your right leg back, toes pointing away, foot is flexed. And then you're going to rotate your left shoulder, trying to stack it over the right, and perhaps raise your right hand up. So see what you can do with that. You can always come out, but you're going for angles. So the left leg parallel to the mat. Strongly reach out through that left leg. You lengthen out through the raised leg and up through the raised arm. That can help you get balanced. If you're against the wall, you obviously can feel the wall, so that's a little more feeling of stability. So, and when you come out, you want to make sure you bend your front leg a lot and then bring the back leg down and forward. Okay, so now we'll try that on the other side. So the block is going to go, this is where it's really hard to teach when I can't see what you're doing. So anyway, I'll just assume you're okay. So this time the block is going to go, if you're going to be, if you have a wall, left side to the wall, block in front of your, a few inches in front of your left foot, a little bit out to the left. Bring your right foot back on your toes, not too far. Bend your left knee and come forward slowly. Rest your hand on the floor of the block. Raise your right leg, foot is flexed, toes turn out. And then you're going to stack your shoulders and perhaps raise your arm. And then once you're in, if you can hold your balance, same thing, but then you breathe. Keep your slow, deep, even breath. When you're ready to come out, you bend the front knee, bring the back foot down, and step your feet together. And then just kind of shake everything out. And come to the front edge of your mat, front third of your mat. Look at your feet. Parallel feet. We'll come to mountain again. So lift and spread your toes. This isn't the first time you've done it, but it's the third time you've done it in this practice. But always move into mountain pose, any pose, mindfully. So you're going to press into the four corners of your feet. Raise your front hip points, front of your pelvis. Open your chest, shoulders back and down. Externally rotate your arms. Spread your fingers. Lift up through the crown of your head. Relax anywhere you can. You can relax your face. Let your teeth be a little apart to make sure your jaw is relaxed. As you inhale, feel the body lengthen and broaden. As you exhale, feel the shoulder blades perhaps melt down from the ears, come a little closer together, open your chest. Feel the strength and stability of a mountain without effort. Everything is aligned. Your skeleton is supporting you. Muscles don't have to do a whole lot, except keep the joints together. Okay, now we're going to inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold, swan dive, keep your knees straight or bent, whatever works for you. Walk both feet back into downward facing dog. And this is a foundational pose too. So it's called Otto, Mouka, Shavasana. So look at your hands. Hands are shoulder width apart. Spread your fingers. Press in a little more into the ball mounts of the fingers. Take some pressure off your wrist. Come up onto your toes. Bend your knees a lot. And just lift your tailbone. Stretch your spine out. Lift your tailbone up toward the sky. And then your choice if you want to just gradually straighten your legs. Don't hyperextend though. Always keep a little micro bend there. And then shake your head yes, no. So make sure your neck is loose. Roll your shoulders out so you're bringing your shoulder blades apart in the back. And your chest is moving gradually, minutely toward your thighs. Let's take 5 nice, slow, deep, even breaths here. And the inhale, lift, energetically stretch your tailbone toward the sky. And on your next inhale, bend your knees, bring your knees slowly to the mat. And walk your hands out about a hand length in front. We're going to lower down with our knees down. If you prefer to lower down from a high plank position, you can do that too. So if you want to just come into high plank and lower down by bending your elbows that way, if you have the ability to do that, that's fine. Otherwise, with your hands a little bit further in front, bring your shoulders right over your wrist. Firm up your core, so bring your navel toward your spine. Begin to bend the elbows and very slowly, keeping the elbows right next to your chest, lower your chin, your chest, and then the last thing to come down is your hips. So come onto your front body, prone position, and just stack your hands left over right and rest your forehead on your hands. So your toes can be turning in. So this is a rest pose, but it's also a pose. I don't know if it has a Sanskrit name, but it's called crocodile. So maybe this isn't a classic pose, but it is a back bend, a gentle back bend. So just rest here for a few breaths before we do some deeper back bends. Maybe in the rest here, check in with your body. Notice any effects of practice so far. Notice any energy moving around from that balancing pose we did. And now we're going to do, come on up. I mean, there's a choice here. You might know some back bends, but I'm going to suggest Sphinx. So forearms are on the mat, shoulder width apart, elbows under your shoulders. Press into the tops of your feet. Press your pelvis into the mat. And then just pull back on your hands so that nothing's going to move. It's just kind of energetically pulling back on your hands and bringing your chest through your arms. Maybe bringing your gaze up a little. So maybe gaze at a spot about a foot or 6 inches to a foot in front of your hands, right ahead. This is Sphinx. Let's just do Sphinx. If you know of Cobra or Up Dog or something, you perfectly free to do that. But Sphinx is a nice back bend. So back bends open the heart, stretch the chest muscles, strengthen the back. A few more breaths. And then come down, rest your head, change your hands so the right one is on top, and go ahead and rest again, forehead on your hands. Just release as much tension, muscular effort as you can, and just sink right down into the mat. Now bring your hands under your shoulders and come on back up onto all fours. Bring your feet out to the side, come onto your back side, onto your seat. And then we're going to lower down onto our backs. So knees are bent, feet on the mat, hip width. And just round your back and go slower down slowly, one vertebra at a time, all the way down so your head is on the mat. So knees are bent, feet are as close to the hips as you can comfortably get them. They are hip width apart. Arms down by your side, so just press into your arms a little bit, lift your chest and bring your shoulder blades a little closer together on the back. So you start, we're going to do bridge pose, Setu Bandhu Shavasana, starting with a nice open chest. Now you can do your bridges with your elbows bent, fingers pointing toward the ceiling, or palms facing down on the mat. So all variations. So find how you want to be. And on an inhale, press into your feet, your arms, hands if they're down. Raise your hips up. Don't force them all the way as high as they can go. Just a gentle start. Exhale, round down, one vertebra at a time. So very mindfully lay that back down all the way to your pelvis. And continue like that. Inhale, lift. You're moving really slowly, mindfully, not over efforting, pressing down into your feet. If your knees are splaying out, press a little more. Either put a block between your legs or press a little more into the big toe side of your feet just to keep your knees in alignment. Squeeze your glutes, help lift those hips up. So this movement in my teaching is called a Ulola. So bridge wave, but that is a modern addition. But bridge itself, Setu Bandhu Shavasana, is a classic foundational yoga pose. So you may choose to keep moving, or if you'd like to hold bridge, you can clasp I like to clasp my hands under my hips. Helps me get the chest open a little bit. And if you're holding, make sure you've got a long neck. So don't have your chin toward your chest. Think of moving your chest toward your chin, keeping the cervical spine long. Breathe. Strong legs. When you're ready to come out or stop moving, roll down carefully. And then go ahead and hug both knees into your chest. Squeeze them in, rock around, take any movement here that comes naturally, instinctively. Your body will tell you what it needs and what feels good. And then we're going to go to our final pose, which is twist. So this is also classic. I'm going to do a supine twist. So that's what my suggestion. If there's a twist that you know, it doesn't matter if it's modern like windshield wipes or whatever, but you go ahead and do that. I'm going to suggest lengthening out your right leg, arms out to the side, shoulder height, palms face up, left knee is bent. You can hitch over a little bit onto the right hip a little bit as you take your left knee, right hand on left knee, and draw the left knee across your right leg. And then last thing you can do if you want to is to come over on toward your left ear. So bring your gaze out toward the left hand. So you can also support your the knee if it's way up in the air with something, or just keep the hand on it. You may also straighten out your left leg. So find the twist that feels great on this side. You want to feel a stretch. I'm feeling a stretch in my left shoulder here, the front of it, and also in my outer left hip, but you might feel something different. So that's fine. But you want it certainly not painful. Something that feels like a nice stretch. If you feel nothing, then you might need to move into it a little deeper or try something different. So we're going to stay there for about a minute. So as you're holding your stretch, it can help to close your eyes in any pose, but here you can safely close them. So that helps you get a little more out of the pose and be in touch more with what's happening in your body. So inhale, send the breath to the area of sensation, the stretch. Just imagine the breath going right there. And then on the exhale, release. Just consciously release and see if you can find a softening in that area or really any area. So for sure you can soften your face, jaw, neck. That's a given. So you can always start there. But do look for a release. So twisting helps detoxify, just moving organs, muscles around, which activates the lymphatic system, which takes away the byproducts of our work. A few more seconds on this side. You now use an inhale to come back to center. You might want to take a full body stretch, lengthening out through arms and legs, or tap your sacrum on the mat. Something just to kind of rebalance, come back to neutral. And then take a twist on the other side. So either left leg long, right knee over left leg, or a twist of your choice. And don't forget, your sides are unique. and each side has different wear and tear, etc., perhaps injuries. So you don't have to do the same thing on this side that you did on the other. You might need more supports or to move into it deeper. So just honor that and find a wonderful releasing twist on this side. Come back to the breath. If at any time you start thinking, worrying, making your shopping list, just let it go and come back to your breath. The breath is a great anchor and focal point for stilling the mind and being able to hear your body. Now, come out of that twist. So on an inhale, come back to center, and it's time for Shavasana. So if you want to take any movement or pose before Shavasana, go right ahead. Shavasana is often, I've read, the most important pose in yoga, and it's the final rest. It's the chance to integrate all the movements of practice. It's the chance to really be in this moment, just accepting everything just as it is, no resistance, no effort. Body is breathing itself. And it's very difficult. If you practice meditation, you know, especially when you're starting, but really I don't think it ever gets much better. It's hard to be aware and just be in the present moment and string a lot of those moments together. It's very hard. Our brain does not want to stop talking. So it's in practice, it gets better. It gets better because you learn that listening to your body and just being there or being aware of everything but not attaching to anything with words, not having words go through your mind, is an amazingly freeing and liberating experience, but it takes a lot of practice to get there. But Shavasana gives you this chance to do that. Now I'm talking too much. I'm going to be quiet. Enjoy your Shavasana. Now come back to the present moment. Just gently awaken your body with small, gentle movements. Deepen your breath. And then bring your knees one at a time or both together into your chest and come over onto your side, cradling your head in your arms. And just rest for a few breaths, seeing where you are at the end of practice. Perhaps revisiting your intention, noticing how your breath is. And use your arms to bring yourself up to a comfortable seat. And keep your eyes closed, stay within a little bit longer. Sit with a tall, straight spine. Bring your hands, palms together at your heart space and bow gently. Bow to your efforts today. Give yourself thanks and gratitude for taking this time to get to know yourself better, to listen to your body, to still your mind. The light in me bows to and honors the very same light in each one of you. Namaste. Thanks so much for coming, and I think this is going to be posted right before Thanksgiving, so have a wonderful holiday, hopefully with family, friends, and I will see you back here. There won't be a new practice next week, but the week after, because I'm going to be with my family, so I won't be able to record. Okay, bye-bye.